Welcome to Strain on the Game, the podcast that reveals what it really takes to keep elite footballers performing at the highest level. I'm Stephen Warnock, former Premier League player, joined by physical performance expert Adrian Lamb. From training ground truths to the financial impact of fitness, we discuss the often overlooked challenges behind the beautiful game. Welcome to an episode of Strain on the Game. This is a two-part special. We are going to touch on a few things that we might have just not sort of covered enough of in our earlier episodes. So this one is, the first part is about supplements and the effects that they can have on your diet. Lammy, the first thing I want to say though is, how the fuck have we made it to Christmas still doing a podcast?
Well, not only have we made it to Christmas, Steve, but our analytic department informs us that we are in the top 15% of podcasts watched on Spotify, which I think that it deserves some form of recognition and celebration. So we must be doing something right.
Yeah, there's only 20 videos on Spotify from podcasts apparently.
19 of them are us. And the other one's a cat falling out of a tree, which is number one.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I remember when we started this up, and one of the big things that was said was usually you get to 8 episodes in and people give up because they think, oh, no one listens, no one's interested, but we're still here, mate. We're still going.
Who gives up? The presenters, the producers, or the listeners?
Everyone.
This is a bad idea.
The presenters and more so the people who talk on the podcast, whose idea it is, they just get fed up and think, we're not getting enough traction, it's not getting us anywhere, let's jack it in. I think everyone expects a quick buck straight away, don't they?
Coming from the football background that we did, nobody looks at the table until Christmas.
No.
So about time
we're not looking till the end of the season, are we?
So thank you. This is the final episode of Strain on the Game.
Yeah. Hey, we're in the top 15.
Yeah. Well done, everybody. Well done. Yeah. Pat on the back. But bigger things to come, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So I know you've put together a little bit of a list, haven't you, of things that we haven't spoken about or we've not spoken about enough. So
so it was, it's that time of the year, isn't it, where if you're watching the television, everything's a review of the year show and a little look back to where we've been and what we've done. Nostalgia, a little bit of nostalgia, Yeah. So we thought, didn't we, we'll have a little look back at some of the things we've done. We've had some my standout moments from the podcast so far have been the standout guests that we've had, outstanding guests. And we looked at, we reviewed some of those podcasts, and the quality of the guests that we've had have just been absolutely phenomenal. But we sort of looked at, and this comes out a little bit of the question, Ask Us Anything episode, where there were certain questions that got asked of us that we probably didn't have time to give the attention that they deserved. And within the episode's subject itself, we didn't have time to give them the devote the attention that these subjects probably deserved. So these have come out of the listeners, a lot of these lists. So it's not, originally I called it 4 things we missed. Well, we don't miss anything. As you know, we're highly professional. So it's 4 things we didn't talk enough about. And the 4 things that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about nutritional supplements. We're going to be talking about the African Cup of Nations. We're going to be talking about what it's really like to be a footballer at Christmas, and also what it's like to be a staff member at Christmas, because everybody forgets about us. And
who?
And also what alcohol really does to the body. So we're gonna visit those 4 subjects, and I think that's pertinent to the time of the year as well.
Yeah.
So.
I know from the nutritional or the supplement side of things, I've actually been on the phone to you, haven't I, this past week, asking for advice on what to do, because I've been run down. I've been absolutely shattered with everything going on. I've had a little bit of man flu, feeling sorry for myself. And I thought, who do I lean on? Who do I know who knows a little bit of something about supplements and how to make me feel better? So,
Yeah. And he
yeah,
wasn't available, so you called me.
yeah, a call
Um,
across the Atlantic, and yeah, hey, I'm not gonna lie, I feel great. And
yeah, well,
I've only been going about 4 days on the supplements, but I
right.
already feel like a little bit of I've kicked into life.
Well, there was a worrying moment when I opened up my social media for that one time a month that I do that, and I noticed a post from you that said that your recovery was 1%, and I thought, aye, Warney's had a right go here. Warney's
Ev
had a night out.
Everyone thought the same. It was like, "Oh, I remember my first drink as well."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was like, and we were due to record that day, and I was thinking he's going to be under the weather a little bit, but it turned out that you had a bit of seasonal flu, didn't you?
Yeah, honestly, mate, I was absolutely wiped out, and I think we spent probably 20 minutes on the phone talking about things and what I need and what we have to go, like what we need to get into our systems to make sure, especially at this time of year in the UK when it's dark, wet, horrible,
Yeah,
you don't get much sunlight and things like that. So, yeah,
I, I don't know what that feels like anymore.
no, you're just a man of the sun, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just
You follow
solar
the sun.
powered. I'm like
Yeah.
Pascal Chimbonda. I'm solar powered. I'm useless without the sun. So anyway, right. So this comes out of a Q&A between you and I, but also out of the brilliant episode that we did with the England nutritionist,
Yeah.
Dr. Chris Rosimus, and the performance chef, Dave Pyle. And they gave us some incredible insights into what England are doing on the nutrition front and looking forward to the World Cup and all of those kinds of things. They focus very heavily on what we call the macros, so the big broad strokes, the carbohydrates, the proteins, the fats. They didn't have time really to cover a lot of the micros so much. So we talk about macronutrients and micronutrients. So micronutrients are the minerals and the vitamins and how they're implicated in health, which comes very closely back to your episode of man flu.
Yeah.
So, and I know one of the questions that you had was around, well, if we get our diet right and we're eating the right things, then surely we don't need to take these supplements. And
Well, your
the,
response to this absolutely blew my mind, and I was a bit
well,
like,
yeah,
wow.
the truth is that unfortunately, there's been a significant decline in the nutritional quality of the food that is available to us and the food that we're eating. And I'm not just talking about, I know it's heavily covered in the news and in the media about ultra processed foods. I'm not necessarily just talking about highly processed foods. I'm talking about the nutritional content of fruits and vegetables. And we know this because in 1940, the British government, during World War II, started looking at the nutritional quality of food, essentially because they needed to know what people needed to eat just to stay alive and healthy, because it was wartime and there was rationing and all of those kinds of things. So since 1940, there's been an analysis of the nutritional quality and the mineral quality of foods and vegetables, and it's shown that it's deteriorated very, very significantly because of that time. This has been because of modern industrial food productions. It's because of an industrialization of farming and agricultural practices. But some of the numbers, if I can give you those, there's been a mineral depletion in the soil, which has caused a lowering of the nutritional quality of food. Sodium has fallen by 52%. Iron has fallen by 51% since 1940. The copper has fallen by 49%. There's a heavier use of fertilizers in industrial agriculture. So many people know that not only am I a performance expert, I'll use that term very loosely,
There you
performance
are. I'll
coach,
give you that. I'll give you
but
that.
also I come from a farming background. So if I take my performance hat off for a moment and put my farming hat on, we've seen a big change in the way that farming produces food, and that's for a number of reasons. You know, the world population is increasing rapidly, and it needs to be fed. There's only a certain amount of land available to feed the population. So we need to do more with what we've got. The worrying thing about that is it takes more out of the soil. And what's really worrying, and what should be really worrying to everybody, is that the United Nations had a report 10 years ago which estimated that in certain parts of the world there's only 50 harvests left,
Bloody hell.
which is severely worrying. And that's down to soil erosion, a lack of nutritional quality of the soil. At a certain point, the soil's just going to fail and not going to be able to grow anything anymore.
Yeah, so for everyone listening, basically what is happening is when you've got those things within the soil and vegetables grow, they absorb those nutrients, don't they?
Yeah,
And that's where you get your supplements from it essentially when you're eating food.
yeah. So if you're told, "Oh, I'm going to eat a lot of spinach because I need to get my magnesium up," then if the magnesium isn't available in the soil to be taken up by the plant, then it's not going to be in the plant. I mean, my grandfather, I didn't know my grandfather; he died before I was born. But my father tells a story. We used to have this crop rotation, so you used to plough a field, and then you'd put a crop in that grows above the ground, so barley or oats or some sort of cereal crop. The
Yeah,
following year, you'd grow something that grew below the ground, like carrots or beetroot or potatoes, because in his words, they would put in what the other crop has taken out, and they'd take different things out of the soil. Then the following year, you'd grow something that grew above the ground again, but it would be different. So if you grow oats in the first year, you grow barley in your third year. And then you'd grow another root vegetable, again, be different. If it was carrots in the second year, you'd grow potatoes.
yeah,
And then you would put it back to grass, and it would be grazed by the cows and the sheep for another 10 years. And then it would go back into that rotation. And these different fields would be given time to rest. Nowadays, they don't get that time. As soon as, and you'll notice it when you're driving along the roads and you see the combine harvesters in the field. The next day, those fields are ploughed. They never used to be. They used to be given time to rest. The soil had time to rest and regenerate, and soil regeneration is a really interesting thing. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is we're getting these new, bigger varieties of crops. So wheat is a good example. The grain kernels are getting bigger and bigger and bigger to increase flour production, but the nutrition within those stays the same. So if you have something that produces 1 gram and then all of a sudden it produces 2 grams, relatively it's producing more flour, but the amount of nutrition within that flour is much, much lower. And
mhm,
then the third reason you've spoken about is geographical location. So if you live north of Los Angeles, or
yeah,
if you live north of, I think, Lisbon in the European hemisphere, if you live north of that, you will be deficient in vitamin D because you're not exposed to enough sunlight through the day to manufacture vitamin D, and that's got
yeah,
massive implications for your health. Um, and then the third reason, the fourth reason, would be quantity. So if we're taking the example of professional sportsmen, one of the most common supplements that is used in football is creatine monohydrate. I don't
yeah,
know if you've used it before, but players use creatine. The food source that has the highest level of creatine naturally is haddock, believe it or not.
there you go.
To get 5 gram, a maintenance dose of creatine monohydrate is about 5 grams, so you take 5 grams a day. That equates to a pound of haddock. So you'd have to eat a pound of haddock
Bloody
every
hell.
day to get your creatine if you were trying to do it from dietary sources alone. So it's easier, let's just have
Yeah,
5 grams. If you don't like haddock, it's not a great thing, is it?
I
But
do not like
even if you
haddock.
love haddock, 5 days of eating a pound of haddock a day, you'd soon get bored of it, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah,
So for these reasons, even if we have a balanced diet and we have our 5 a day, lots of fruits and vegetables, high quality sources of protein, um, high quality sources of carbohydrates, we still need to take supplements, especially for professional sportsmen and footballers, especially to ensure that they're receiving the sufficient amount of nutrition to support their performance and to achieve their performance goals.
Can I ask a really, you'll probably laugh at this and probably the listeners will laugh at me for asking this question, but if you get nutrients from the soil into
Yeah.
your foods,
Yeah.
where do the nutrients come for tablets, for supplements?
That's not a stupid question at all. It's not a question that I have the answer to.
Yes, stumped him.
You've absolutely caught me leg before. Yeah.
Have some of that. Why are
Yeah.
you going
Right.
red? Why are you
Okay.
going red?
That's I've never even considered that. I just take the
Haven't you?
supplement and say, well, there's certain. I mean, we're going to go through these supplements, but you're talking about magnesium, aren't you, and zinc
Yeah,
and things
just
like that.
little things, zinc,
Yeah,
magnesium. Like, how do you get that in a tablet? I
yeah.
wouldn't have a clue.
I've no idea. I mean,
Right, we'll come back and do another episode on that when you
right there you
found it
go.
out. There's a bit of
Part two.
studying for you over Christmas.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just
I
buy
was
the
going to give
stuff.
you Christmas off.
I just buy the stuff and take it, and
Yeah,
that's it.
there you go.
There
Okay.
you go. No, very good. I can actually give you the answer to. So we're going to go through a number of supplements that are commonly taken by players. The first
Yeah.
one is fish oils. I
Yeah.
can tell you where that comes from. It comes from fish. But the
Correct.
actual source of fish is really, really important. The bigger the fish, the more. Again, we've got levels of toxicity in the. Can I just stop you there? Can I just stop everyone there?
Is there any
And
goodness in what I'm drinking?
for listeners to the podcast who are not watching this on Spotify or YouTube, Stephen Warnock has just taken a sip of what appears to be a cherry Coke
It sure is.
live on air. Is it a cherry Coke?
Oh, yeah. Bloody lovely as well.
Is it?
It's not good for me, but it's bloody nice.
Right. We'll talk about insulin sensitivity later on. So,
Carry on.
fish oils.
Yeah.
Fish oils contain two active or bioactive fatty acids, EPA and DHA, and they perform multiple functions in performance. The source of fish oil is really, really important. As I was saying earlier, the sea, as we know, the oceans are increasingly polluted. One of the problems is mercury pollution. Big fish, tuna and swordfish and marlin, have quite a high level of mercury toxicity. So the smaller fish, so you'll find krill oil, you'll find anchovy oil, but your sourcing of your fish oil is really, really important as to how making sure you avoid this toxicity.
Yeah.
The two things you're looking for in your fish oils are it has to have a high level of EPA and a high level of DHA, because those are the two important factors within that. So anything above 500 of both of those is something that I look for. But in terms of the function of fish oil, they perform multiple functions. The first one is it increases muscle repair. So footballers get a lot of muscle damage through sprints and contact, and that's where your stiffness and your muscle soreness comes in. That's muscle damage, which is repairing itself. So as we're coming into the Christmas period, muscle repair is a really important factor of recovery.
Yeah.
So if we can accelerate that, because as we know, going into Christmas, you've got games every 3 days, haven't you? So fish oil actually enhance muscle protein synthesis, so taking protein, synthesizing it into the muscle tissue to actively repair the muscle tissue. And it also enhanced the effectiveness of this thing that we've spoken about before called the mTOR pathway, which effectively is a switch where the body is being flicked from being in a catabolic state where the muscle tissue is breaking down to being in an anabolic environment. Effectively, that mTOR pathway uploads the anabolic environment. And when I say anabolic, I mean in terms of tissue repair, not in terms of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And studies have shown supplementation with good fish oils, good high-quality fish oils, that increases the effectiveness of muscle protein synthesis by as much as 30%. So real significant figures there. So that's an important one. Another function of fish oil is it reduces inflammation. So that inflammatory response that sometimes we want to promote,
Yeah.
but at other times we want to desensitize and we want to reduce that inflammatory response. it achieves this by increasing our reduction of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, which is naturally produced by the body at certain times. Unfortunately, we are chronically stressed a lot of the time
Yeah.
for different environmental reasons. So controlling that cortisol response and removing it at the right times is really important. Fish oil plays a really, really big role in that. One of the things, again, that cortisol does is it inhibits that muscle protein synthesis. So the
Okay.
muscle repair is being hijacked essentially by the presence of cortisol. So these two things work synergistically. And the third thing, which is related to your ingestion of cherry Coke, is when you take in high carbohydrate, sugary foods, you spike your insulin.
Yeah.
And at certain points, you want that. You want that after a game because you're trying to restore energy stores. You're trying to replenish used energy stores. Unfortunately, when we're constantly exposing the body to sugars, we're spiking the insulin repeatedly. And when
Yeah.
you repeatedly spike your insulin, at a certain point, you start blunting that insulin response. And what that means is your ability, or the body's ability, to restore energy quickly becomes diminished,
Ooh,
becomes
okay.
lower. So I don't want to
Can
make
of
it.
cherry Coke a day isn't good.
So one of the things that, say that again, sorry.
I said a can of cherry Coke a day isn't good.
It's not great, mate. It's not great. Maybe one a week.
Okay. Might
I
have to
think
cut
I
them
think you could
down.
survive.
Do you
Go
know the
to
bad thing
cherry.
is? The Kev from the gym round the corner where I go, Alive Fitness in Crosby. I was out for my birthday the other night, and he said, "I've just dropped something off at yours." Ooh, he said, "A little birthday present for you." It was a 6-pack of cherry Coke, and he's the gym owner, so he's not
Well,
encouraging things, is he? He's
well,
not
no, but
helping me.
he's getting more business by he's making sure that you stay, your
Chubby,
body fat remains elevated so that you go to the gym.
very clever.
I think that's a brilliant business model. All
Yeah,
gym
very
owners
smart.
out there can learn from this. Give your clients cherry Coke or other sugary foods so that they have to come to the gym and keep your business going. I think
Very
that's
true.
brilliant. That's a brilliant business strategy. So this mechanism of increasing insulin sensitivity, fish oil allows the receptors to bind more easily with insulin, and it improves that insulin sensitivity. So that's really, really important for energy restoration, which
Okay.
is a massive, massive thing in terms of recovery after games within the season. So number one supplement, fish oil. Number two supplement, magnesium. Magnesium is a massive, massive one.
I've noticed a difference in this. I was taking this anyway before you mentioned it, but I think this is a great one personally for me for sleep.
Right, yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So magnesium's an anti-stress mineral. Um, it's implicated in so many chemical reactions in the body. I think the research that I looked at, it's implicated in over 300 biochemical processes in the body, and it performs multiple performance-based functions. But the big one, as you've said, is regulation of the sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
So we talk about this autonomic nervous system, which is made up of the parasympathetic system, which is low stress, and the sympathetic nervous system, which is high stress. And we want, obviously, at certain times, we want to be in high stress. We want, going into games, we want to be in that stress situation because that improves, adrenaline, and we get all of these fight or flight responses, and that increases energy availability and it stimulates everything. But after the game, we want to drop out of that very, very quickly,
Yeah.
and we want to be parasympathetic dominant. There's a brilliant book by a guy called Johnny Bowden, which is called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Or for our American listeners, why zebras don't get ulcers. And it's a great analogy because he talks about, you've seen these wildlife documentaries, and
Yeah.
the zebras are bowling around the Serengeti plain without any.
I've been on safari.
Oh, marvelous. Good?
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Very, very good.
that's on the to-do list. But this book uses the analogy of the zebra, and there's a lion out there. Well, what's the biggest challenge that a zebra can face? Death by lion.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're bowling about the place with grass hanging out of their mouth, just like bang, lion. Shit, lion. Massive sympathetic response. Sympathetic system going run, 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 run. Lion, another lion, third lion. They get a zebra, dead, tearing its guts out while its legs are still going because it's still trying to get away. All the other zebras instantly just go, I'm safe. And they
'Cause
drop
they don't
straight
need to
out of
feed.
that sympathetic nervous system into a parasympathetic system because they know they're fine. Now, we are chronically stressed all the time because we look at something on Instagram and there's something going on in politics or something in the news or something's happening, and we're constantly elevating our stress response. And that has a massive implication for sleep. And if you think about, I mean, you can talk about this. After a game as a footballer, you're running through the game in your head, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're going through moments, and if you've had a good game or a bad game, you're dwelling on these moments. So
Yeah.
that is the holy grail for me, isn't it? I mean, you can talk about that if I throw to you, and you can talk about like what it's like immediately after a game, especially a nighttime game.
Oh, the nights are the worst, and to be honest with you, I still get it now. So even if I commentate on a game, you're still in the game. You're still like the moments that you're going through the game are still there, thinking, did I say the right thing? How did I react to that? So I've still got that now. So I was out in Milan, covering the Liverpool or the Inter Milan Liverpool game. And after the game, it gets to a point where you're like, I need to de-stress here. I need to
Mm,
just relax a bit and try and chill out, but you can't because your mind's racing thinking, "Have I done well? Have I not done well? How was it? How do I feel?" And you're on a bit of a come down. So I've carried on with that. Not as
yeah,
bad, nowhere near as bad as it was when I was playing,
yeah,
but the mind's still like come off with a headache.
yeah.
'Cause you're constantly talking, you're constantly thinking about things, and people go, "Yeah, you've only sat in a chair and talked about football for the whole time." Try and do that constantly and try and pick out things as well and work on things and be asked questions and ask questions. Suddenly it's a different way of your brain working. So I had to
Well,
get used to that side of things as well. So, yeah, that can be
yeah.
quite
Well,
difficult.
I mean, I have an inkling as to the amount of preparation that you do and going into things like Football Focus and um the media stuff that you do. I don't. How I'm thinking. I sometimes listen to you and I think, how does he remember all the names? How does he,
Yeah, of
and little bits of background and remembering bits of the poem. But anyway, you analyze your performance still, don't you?
course you do,
As a
yeah.
commentator, you
Yeah,
analyze your performance. So if you're one of if you're one of those people who finds yourself in bed at night thinking, oh, did I pay that bill? Did I lock the door? Did I turn the oven off? Did I turn the iron off? And
yeah,
dwelling about things and getting a stress response about things that you can't control, or worrying about things that are coming in the future, then there's a good chance that you might be magnesium deficient.
yeah.
Because magnesium functions to sort of desensitize this sympathetic nervous system and cortisol response. Bad news is, I looked at a quick study, 50% of the population of the United States are chronically magnesium deficient. I think we're
Oh,
all probably deficient in magnesium because of those reasons that we mentioned before, because the
wow.
magnesium just isn't present in the food that we eat anymore.
Jeez.
So,
It's incredible that though, because whenever I go to America, I feel like America's a very supplement driven industry.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel like it's in your face everywhere. It's on TV. Every advert, something about supplements or something like that. Whenever you walk into, I don't know, a Walmart, what's the other one? CVS or something like that.
yeah,
It's everywhere.
Walgreens,
It's like our Holland and Barrett, isn't it?
yeah,
There's always a deal on. I always think, well, it's very accessible for you, but obviously
yeah,
the cost of health insurance in America, people are
yeah.
like, "Well, what do I pay for?"
Yeah.
Which one do I go for? Do I go for the health insurance or do I go for the supplements so I don't get ill? Difficult
Prevention
decision.
always better than cure. And you're right. I mean, the supplement industry is a
It's
billion
massive.
dollar industry, isn't it? Globally, and
Gazillion.
everybody's looking
Yeah.
for these angles, and it's actually it's very simple to fall into the trap of taking everything all the time in an effort to, well, this does this, and you jump on it, and one of the things we're going to talk about when we get onto zinc is you've got to be very, very careful. But yeah, back to magnesium. So yeah, huge improvements in sleep quality, and sleep is when we get most of our recovery and regeneration.
Yeah.
So really, really important, but also enhanced testosterone production. Magnesium is implicated that. Muscle protein synthesis, back to that. Magnesium plays a role in that. Insulin sensitivity for those of us who enjoy a cherry Coke on more than one occasion. That's a really, really, it's implicated in that as he takes another sip. I hope it's just cherry Coke in there. I hope there's nothing else in there. I know it's
No, it is just
semi-desert.
Jerry Coke, but yeah.
Um, and what I should mention before we move on to the next one, there are different forms of magnesium available, and that can become quite confusing. I would always recommend magnesium glycinate because it's more effective. It's more easily absorbed by the body.
Yeah.
You've got you'll see magnesium sulfate and magnesium oxide. If you're going down the route of supplementation, magnesium glycinate is a really important one. So has your sleep improved since we've started
It's getting
going
there.
down the magnesium
I
route?
mean, it's only been I've been using it on and off anyway for a year. But it's like you say, it's using the right one, and you give me the supplements to go out and buy and which ones to go for. So it's
Yeah.
making sure that you get the right ones. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I do feel like my sleep has been better. It's just very difficult because got back from Milan, went straight to London, had a Christmas night out, had a few drinks. I came straight back from London, so I didn't get into bed till sort of 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you're a bit like, you're not going to sleep well anyway, are you? So
No.
at this moment, I'm a bit like, I'm up and down. I'm a bit of a roller coaster just with work and being busy. And sometimes I get a late night after work and depending on what work's like. So yeah, I think I'll judge it more so once my schedule settles
Well,
down a bit.
what I'd be interested, so we've got that sort of subjective view of what your sleep is from yourself, which is important, but also the objective stuff. You're wearing a Whoop, so
Yeah,
take a look at what your Whoop's doing, and specifically your heart rate variability.
yeah,
So your heart rate variability is a big indicator of what the status of your autonomic nervous system, especially when you're asleep. And if you're getting a lot of REM sleep and your heart rate variability, then your sleep quality will be improving. So I would be interested to track your sleep on your Whoop over time to see if that magnesium
yeah,
is having any positive effects.
yeah,
Um, We'll just rattle through these next few ones because there's other things we want to talk about. So we've spoke about geographical location and vitamin D. Vitamin
yeah.
D is a massive one. Right now for you
No
in
sun.
England, you're just not getting exposure to the sunlight to manufacture vitamin D. I, on the other hand, am awash with vitamin D. I've got so much vitamin D that I don't know what to do with it. I'm giving it away. I've got so much vitamin D, I'm giving it away.
Don't fucking
Vitamin
show off.
D, fat-soluble vitamin, plays a massive role in lots of things, reducing inflammation, increasing insulin sensitivity, stimulating muscle protein synthesis. People who are deficient in vitamin D, essentially, they have an impaired muscle function. They've been shown to have decreases in muscle strength. So again, strength is really important to football performance because it's implicated in speed and strength and
Yeah,
power, so definitely at a certain point in and you'll cast your mind back to the Blackburn days. We supplemented with vitamin D, and we
yeah,
were
yeah,
we were on, at a certain point, if your blood scores, we used to take bloods off you regularly, and then if your blood scores dropped below a certain level, if you were deficient, then we would have you on a dose of 10,000 international units a day, which is much greater than what is recommended. And then
yeah,
once you got back up to those levels, we would give you a maintenance dose of 5,000 international units. So vitamin D, especially for Northern Hemisphere. Creatine is the fourth
Yeah.
one, probably the most widely researched and actually pretty controversial. A lot of people sort of have problems with creatine.
Oh,
Creatine,
have I not told you our story?
yeah, go on.
So Kelly, my partner, goes, we need to get some creatine. So I was like, okay. So she said, I've seen this company, they do gummies. Because I always think, like, just taking a powder, I'm not a massive fan of taking powdery stuff. So I was like, oh, right, okay, cool, we'll get some gummies. Took it for 6 months. Yeah, well done. Oh, I think they're called Overload.
Right.
Massive report comes out. There's no creatine in the gummies. So I've just been eating sweets for 6 months.
Well, no harm done then. apart from to your insulin sensitivity.
Apart from the fact that it's £50 a pack every month. And you're
Well,
like, you fucking robbing bastards. And then they've got the cheek to send you a message saying, like, oh, we're back up and running. Would you like some? And you're like, no, send me it for free.
surely
Cheeky
surely
bastards.
that is fraudulent behaviour,
It is
isn't
fraudulent.
it? Somebody.
Absolute robbing fuckers.
Well, but you do actually raise an important point. I mean, I'm laughing. I shouldn't laugh because it's not a laughing matter. You do raise an important point, and you've spoken there about in the States when you go into Walgreens or CVS or any of the stores, you're absolutely inundated with choice.
Yeah.
So do your research when you're doing these supplements. Do your research because they're not always.
Yeah,
It's
but the
not
only
always
thing
like
I'd
Ron
say,
Seal.
I know you're saying there, do you research? Well, the research on these gummies was that they were one of the highest dosages of creatine in them. Well,
Right.
I can't go and sample that.
Yeah, no.
So I'm trusting a company to sell me a product that they say what it does on the tin.
Yeah,
And it absolutely didn't.
yeah, and it's wrong, and
Oh,
that
it's shocking.
unfortunately, because the supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, that becomes increasingly common. You do
Yeah,
get those supplements that are not as effective. They're not using the highest grade of whatever it is that you're taking that you can get.
yeah,
The bioavailability isn't good. All kinds of problems with it, but they're expensive. They
yeah,
are expensive, aren't they?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, hundreds of pounds in your case.
Yeah.
But yeah, so creatine, if if you're actually taking something that does contain creatine, energy systems. So this goes back to energy systems. 3 predominant energy systems: your aerobic system, your anaerobic system, and your phosphocreatine system. Your phosphocreatine system is, if you think of it in the analogy of a spaceship, your phosphocreatine system is your rocket booster. So
Okay.
you've got enough phosphocreatine in the body to supply energy for these sprints, high intensity bursts of maximum activity, sprinting, jumping, challenging for the ball, but only over a short period of time, and then it's
Yeah.
completely depleted. The more creatine that you have available, the quicker that turnover of the phosphocreatine system. So your recovery between bouts of high intensity activity is much, much quicker.
Yeah.
And we've spoken very, very deeply about the importance of sprints and high intensity activity to successful football performance. So creatine, one of the most widely researched and widely used supplements in football, I think.
Yeah.
And also, again, restoration of muscle function, repair of muscle tissue much, much quicker with creatine. So yeah, that's another one. But then, other supplements. One of the big one for me is probiotics. You need to use, if your internal environment isn't good, you can take all the supplements you want, but you're not absorbing them. And we know, I think it's kind of well known the importance of the microbiome. So taking a good quality probiotic to improve your gut health and thereby increase the amount of nutrients that the body can absorb is really, really important.
Yeah.
Cherry juice. Do
Yeah.
you ever get in
Love
the
a bit of
dark
that.
cherry juice? The sour cherries? So Montmorency cherries specifically.
Okay.
But black currant juice is also coming out, has come out as doing the same thing, essentially to reduce muscle soreness, but also it improves the quantity and quality of sleep
Yeah.
because tart cherry juice contains a lot of serotonin, which is the metabolic precursor of melatonin. So you're manufacturing more melatonin, you can get to sleep better. Do you ever come across Glyn Snowden in your career?
Yeah.
Brilliant guy.
Yeah, I was with
Brilliant.
him at Bradford.
Oh, what a great guy, but fantastic to play a practical joke on. So we would put the tart cherry juice on his rice pudding on a Friday night at an away game. Right, and just say it was like we say, oh, it's like a raspberry coulis or whatever. Yeah, it's like a sauce. Put it on. He'd come up and say, "How'd you sleep?" I said, "Oh, slept like a baby. Slept like couldn't keep my eyes open." The amount of practical jokes that we played on Snods was unbelievable. So tart cherry juice, colostrum's one that we use, supporting recovery, rich in anti-inflammatory cytokines, so that's good. Turmeric's a big one for anti-inflammatory. Again, improves recovery, increases recovery. Zinc is one that I put you on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As you get older, zinc is implicated in testosterone and growth hormone, which again, if you're deficient in zinc, then you're not manufacturing enough testosterone, you're not manufacturing enough growth hormone while you're asleep. So that has huge implications for muscle repair, recovery from training. We spoke a little bit about you've got to be careful with your supplements. So zinc, if you say, oh, zinc, brilliant, I'll take loads of zinc. But if you do, zinc can block copper absorption. Right.
Okay.
So these things work synergistically. You know, they work in tandem with each other. So you've got to get the levels right. Copper is critical for iron absorption, and iron makes red blood cells effectively.
Yeah.
So our red blood cells get recycled, and that recycling of red blood cells when they get damaged needs iron. But if you're not absorbing if you're taking too much zinc and you're lowering your ability to absorb iron, your iron levels start increasing, and that can lead to anemia and can lead to all sorts of problems. So you've got to be really, really careful. You've got to be really, really careful how you use these supplements and how they interact with each other.
Okay.
So that's some of the supplements that we use and why we use them.
Follow us on social media and YouTube at Strain on the Game. Subscribe, like, and follow.